Welcome back. Yes, indeed. It's time to talk about football. We've got Idah Peterside joining us this morning. Good morning. Been a while. Where have you been, Mr. Peterside?
Well, I've been hibernating in Port Harcourt.
Oh dear. Okay.
I've been having some break and rest in Port Harcourt. Yes.
Oh, nice, nice. I hope the Super Eagles don't hibernate because that match yesterday, the results, not the result we wanted, but at the end of the day, well, the performance, I know people will look at the performance, but talk to us about that. We saw the first one and then quickly saw the second match as well. So I think that they're kind of different in terms of how they played over time, don't you think?
Well, we have to give it to them. We have to give it to them. I think, especially the first game. Remember, we had not won a game for over 1 year.
Yeah.
And playing the game against Benin, we had just lost to Benin. We were all scared. We just felt we have just crumbled as a national team. So the game against Benin that we won 3-0 was a breather for us. It was a great result for us. And that gave us a little bit of hope. And when we went to play Rwanda, I think it was a great game. Nobody should take anything away from the Super Eagles, who had a fantastic game. The goalkeeper saved them. And so looking at it in overall, I'm not sure it was a bad result. We got, Europe got a result. We went to Kigali and we got a draw. Remember, it's the AFCON and it's still qualifier. So, and we're leading the way the results are already, we're leading the table.
So, in terms of where this leaves us, particularly when we talk about consistency, why is that so hard for us to see on a regular basis with the team? Should we be worried now?
A whole lot of things are not in place, especially when it concerns the coaching department. We've had the story with Raul leaving and Finidi coming to take over, and now us in Eguavoen coming to take over. For a team to do well, you need stability. And nobody else brings that kind of stability than the coaching department. And Eguavoen has done well in the last 2 games. There's been a debate everywhere. Should Eguavoen be kept? Will Eguavoen leave? Or do we bring a foreign coach? I think the national team is getting, the last 2 games we've played is beginning to stabilize. For me, that's my take. I think we should allow Eguavoen to finish what he has started. Remember, he's been with this team for years. We had an issue when we didn't qualify for the World Cup, the game against Ghana. He was in charge. And I've always told people we did not lose that game. 3 games prior to that time against Ghana, we did not lose. And he was in charge of the team, right? And we got that draw against Ghana. We didn't qualify, obviously, so people became angry. But he has been able to be part of this system. He has done well, and he's been able to bring some kind of stability to the Eagles. So for me, him continuing as the national team coach will bring more stability and the players know him. And I think it's very likable. So my opinion, just let him be and finish the 2 other games that will have World Cup qualifiers, and we'll see how it goes.
So the thing about that is, while Labadia fell off, it didn't happen. So he was then told to sit in. So at the moment, so if he was told to handle the 2 games as interim coach, then his role or his capacity as technical director means that who knows. So I think that's why there's a little bit of confusion. But at the moment, he says, look, he's still going to have a conversation with the team, with the management or the body to see how are we going to continue with the other qualifiers. So the NFF themselves, one would have thought, shouldn't all of those details have been sorted out ahead of time to enable whoever is there think about stability and consistency, which we all want to reflect on the team, as opposed to this quick fire approach on handling team management, which is the way it comes across to a lot of Nigerians?
We do want consistency. You said so many things. We do want consistency. and it starts with who leads the team. My take is, you remember we have 2 games, one against the same Benin, one against South Africa, to see how far we'll go with World Cup qualifiers. Eguavoen has done well in the last 2 games, gotten us 4 points, and we've seen the difference. I've never seen Nigeria play well in the last 2 games like we have done in the last 2 years. Everybody must agree with that. Therefore, there's a little bit of movement. We have great players. All we've struggled is with who coordinates them, who gives them their positions to play. Austin has done that. Eguavoen has done that. You know, I've always been an advocate of a home-based coach from the beginning. With where we are, if you bring a different coach, it would automatically destabilize the team. Let Eguavoen carry us through the next 2 games we'll have to play, and whatever happens from there, we're already in a bad state, especially concerning the World Cup qualifiers. We're already in a very, very terrible state. Let him finish off. Then we can come back now and say, okay, let's start afresh. Do we bring a foreign coach? Do we continue with what we have? It's still a long, long, long way. We need stability. I had interviews, I had the players after the game, the captain after the game, the team, they've already come out to say, why change? Why bring somebody else? Let Eguavoen finish up. And I think the players must be respected. You know, they found Eguavoen very comfortable to work with, and they want to continue with him. For me, let him handle the national team until after the World Cup qualifiers.
I mean, Mr. Peterside, you raised a very important point, because many people looking at that match, they're looking at the players of the Nigerian team and feel like they're finally moving into actual attacking football, and you feel more comfortable around Eguavoen. You know, I want to be able to talk about those rumors that came around. I don't know where that conversation actually even came from. I think Mr. Eguavoen has explained that it was taken out of context. But let's talk a little bit about, you know, that situation. You know, with everything that's happened and where we are in football, you said right now that Mr. Eguavoen should remain and continue with the qualifiers. In fact, I think we're facing I like their name, the Libyan team, the Mediterranean Knights. We're facing them in the next game. Let's talk a bit about how we handle football in this country, especially this coaching situation. Is it touch and go? You try, you fail, you move. Is that how it's supposed to be? Or should we have some kind of actual plan that keeps our team together and stable?
Well, let me get to the Eguavoen case. You know that I spoke to Eguavoen. Fortunately, I spoke to Eguavoen last night. And I asked him, did you quit? He said, no, I did not quit. And I'm like, why are the rumors? Okay, we must understand football politics. You see, where we are now, there are agents. There are different agents trying to sell coaches, trying to bring in coaches here and there. And there are people in the NFF too that are looking forward to bringing their own type of coach they want. So what Eguavoen has done, he has come in and unstable the waters. Now the agents wanted us to lose, because if we had lost the game against Benin, then those agents would have brought in their own coaches. It's the politics of football. Eguavoen has shocked them, played well. Like Megwa said, we were playing attacking football. I think people are getting excited that we can now play. For me, we must continue, because he knows the team, he's the technical director, and the NFF need to play a part. You know, when you lead an organization like that is as popular as anything you think of in this world, you need strong men. You need people that are decisive to take decisions, right? We have wobbled and fumbled this coach, that coach. Eguavoen has stabilized us. Let us continue with him. We must continue with him until after this time. Or else, if we don't do that, you'll bring somebody new. And once you bring somebody new, remember, it's an agent that bring them. And once these agents bring them, these agents come with their own players, whom they think should play for Nigeria, because obviously they want to increase their pool. So it's important that we continue with Austin. Let us finish the World Cup qualifiers and the Nations Cup qualifiers, then the NFF can decide on what they want to do.
I mean, let's go back to that match with Rwanda. We can't talk about that game without talking about that goalkeeper from Rwanda. I think his name is Fiacre Ntwali. You know, everyone keeps saying that he was the man of that match. You know, what do you make? And the shots at goal, but you know, we weren't. It was still goalless. You know, we didn't clench it. You know, and for me, I know when you say, I hear you when you say we played well. Mr. Peterside, playing well should result in winning.
No.
That's how my mind works. You know, talk to us about that goalkeeper and what we should be doing looking forward.
So we are in a union. I was a goalkeeper. So if a goalkeeper does well, nobody gives you a call all the time. It is when you concede goals that say this goalkeeper killed us, this goalkeeper na basket, this goalkeeper na this. But when a goalkeeper does well, we must commend him. He was man of the match, obviously. He pulled off some few saves even in the first half, one-on-one experiences, and he saved Rwanda. We did well. Again, look at it. How many times in the previous games have we played where you will say we had 15 shots on goal? 18? No, it's unheard of. When we were with Ra, this same Ra Bennett, he was our worst coach ever. You know, we never would attack. He would be afraid to move forward. But we were playing away from Rwanda, and we had more shots at goal, and the goalkeeper was the man of the match, which means he had to work extra because of our strikers. We had a fantastic game. Again, like you said, in football, there are 3 results. So you need to become conversant and comfortable with those results. It's a draw, it's a win, and it's a loss. So the worst is the loss. We didn't lose. We drew, and so
you know
it's better than losing. So we got a point there.
There are no minnows in football anymore these days, which is what it is. And I think that will also help us as a country if we begin to properly respect other teams, whoever they are. I'm not saying we don't before, but it needs to come across that way. It will help us prepare more and be on top of our game whenever we are out there. But in terms of the character of this team and the Nations Cup, the finalists, what difference or improvement have you seen from those 2 teams?
Let's go back to the finals. For me, the finals and the game we played against South Africa was the killer for me. After those games, I just said, sack this coach. And when the coach of South Africa came on air, I was in South Africa then, and he said he was shocked to hear the Nigerian coach say, don't go forward, don't cross the line, defend. And it's like, with this kind of players they have, with this kind of capacity, we have the best sets of players in Africa. They're playing, look at the names. We will be Asime. We just look, man. We have some of the best players. You can't cage this kind of players. You give them expression. Austin has done that. We had expression in Uyo, who scored 3 goals. We had expression in Kigali, the goalkeeper saved them. They carried the goalkeeper after the end of the game, which means we came out to attack. This is what we're talking about. Now, when this team begins to build and play with this kind of confidence, it will be unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable. And he took some decisions that we're happy about. He benched Osimhen, not because Osimhen wasn't good enough, but because Osimhen has not played any competitive game yet. And it will be dangerous for the player to just put him into a tournament or into a game. He will get injured. That was professionally handled. The last game against Benin, he didn't play well, right? And he was comfortable enough not to play him in the second game. That's leadership for me. Eguavoen was the captain when we played. He was the captain of the national team when we played. So it's a big boy now. He's part of the system and he's taking the right decisions. It's just, for me, we're on the right track.
So, that then means that, the NFF should do what they need to do to ensure that at least whoever is on that seat knows I need to plan for this, this, and this. So that way, because since you say the players are comfortable playing for him, so that counts for something. And I think it will help them, it will give expression to the team in terms of how they play moving forward. But perhaps the style of play for the next games that we have you? I think you've said you've seen signs that the team seems to be up and running. But in terms of who needs to improve their game for what you saw against Rwanda, who would it be?
Well, I think one of the biggest disease we have in that team now is Chukwueze. We don't know what's wrong with him. We watch him in AC Milan. We watch him playing in Spain. Well, just fantastic. But again, I've always said it. When you play for the national team, it's a different ballgame. There's a spirit in that national team. Not every great player plays well in the Super Eagles. We've seen that. Now, I watched the game. I saw Anna, great player going forward. We now have what do they call him, Bruno, by that left side. He has solved the left side problem. But Aina is still there, here and there, right? He's still here and there. He goes forward very well, but when the ball is dropped into that pocket behind him, his recovery is very terrible. Again, we're building a team. I look at the bench, we're look at the great players on the bench. I think we're making progress, gradually progress. At a particular time, in every team, you don't change more than 3 or 4 players. That shows you a lot of stability. Now we're getting there. We saw the Uyo game, we saw the Benin game. 2 changes were made. We're moving forward. And I think with time, once this team continue to play together, we'll now find that we'll close our eyes like we did years ago and know who will be in goal for the national team. We'll have a great goalkeeper there. Wabali has just cemented his position. Thank goodness we brought back Ekon. Ekon was a pillar for us in these 2 games. I don't know why he was not invited. I don't know what the stories are. But you see, these players are beginning to have confidence that, okay, with this coach, we know whom our captain is. We know who will strike for us. We know whom the defender is. Then you can pick up a phone like we used to do years ago. If you have a game 1 month from the time, you are monitoring your players and talking to them. This match is important. Now we have that kind of stability. And I call on NFF, please, we beg you, don't listen to agents. Guys, agents are like leeches. As I speak to you, they will be going around the NFF making promises to people in charge of technical department. We'll give you 5%, we'll give you 2%, we'll give you this, just to influence them to open up that portal. Stay with Eguavoen.
Somebody say it just must chop too now. I don't know how you watch his own match. Let me ask you. How did you watch?
I'll only watch the highlights. I cannot bear it. I mean, 0-0, almost a balanced, football, handling by the 2 teams. Most certainly, we can't deny. I'm sure you would assess that as well, Mr. Peterside. You can't deny that the other team had an equally good team. But the question that comes to mind, is that Nigerians, back in time, way before the football match took place, Nigerians were aware. Months ahead, Nigerians were aware, and they would celebrate to high heavens before the tournament came. So the buzz was always high that Nigeria is going to play against this particular team, and always the attention is always on the Nigerian team. But these days, it would seem not so much. For instance, we didn't go for the Olympics. At least I don't think our football team went. And even this match that we were talking about now, I'm not sure how many Nigerians knew that was going to happen. Some didn't even get to know until about maybe hours before the team. So it begs the question whether or not we're even, as a country, maybe through the NFF, giving enough attention to our football to the point that people really, really want to know. And when Nigerians are giving attention, most certainly government gives a little more attention.
Prices are going high, a whole lot of issues. And it is football, sports, football, that gives us some kind of joy. So after the game against Benin, the excitement began to return, right? And when we played the draw against Benin, most people didn't see the game because maybe Super Sports didn't show it. Well, we followed the game and it gave us a little bit of joy. You know, what you're saying, Ayo, is that if you have a child that comes back every term with 35 over 35, the child is in school, his result says 35 over 35, 35 over 35. The next exam, you say, and we know the result now, 35. And the shocking thing would be if your child comes back, instead of becoming 35, the child says, I came out third. You begin to say, now, did you beat this? Or what happened to you? You understand? So what is happening now, we're beginning to, with the last two games that has been played, we're beginning to get excited and saying, this team is playing well. Like Megwa said, we're beginning to attack. We never would attack before. There's prospect that we want to score goals, we want to win games. Therefore, we are now building something different. That's my argument. We're building something different. Therefore, let us stick with this building process and don't bring somebody else with a different idea. You bring a German that wants to defend. You bring somebody from somewhere that does not love attacking football. Therefore, we're on the right track. I think in the next 3-4 games, the spirit will be back. I had the Minister of Sports yesterday say the same thing. You know, I had him talk the talk. We must bring a lot of changes back.
Sustain that momentum, Mr. Peterside. That's the question. How do we sustain that momentum? Because it's not the first time we've had this upswing and then it plateaus and then it goes down again. How do we sustain that momentum? So it's not just something Nigerians have like snacks. It's actually a frequent meal.
Consistency. That's what I'm preaching.
Is this consistency a thing that is unknown to the NFF or to the other administrators of our football?
No, we're not talking administration now. We're talking about the play. If we want to talk administration, then, you know, I would start contesting or start campaigning for NFF presidency. So I don't want to go there yet. We're just talking about the play. The play is improving in the last 2 games. There's been an improvement. Let's see the 3rd and the 4th game. Then we can analyze them.
That's the platform. My apologies, Mr. Peterside, but that's the platform upon which our performance or a lack of it rests. Football administration. Thank God you know about it. And I am not trying to drag you into something that isn't. But let Nigerians understand, if we don't get administration right, how can we get the play right?
Okay, we must give it to the NFF now. In the sense of players' welfare. Organizationally, there's a lot of mess there. That's why we'll keep talking about change. We need to bring some changes there. But we're talking about the football, the game. They took a gamble. This gamble they took was Eguavoen. It is a gamble that has paid off. So stick with that gamble for me. Then when it comes to administrative hookups and mess-ups, they need to work on their game. I can't tell them what to do. People were elected, not people were voted in to take these decisions. And if they don't get it right, we'll vote them out. Elections will come again. So administrative, we're taking notes. We are like the opposition party, you know. We're in the PDP here now, trying to check what they're not doing right. So that when we start our campaign, we know, we'll tell them you didn't get this right. But in the game itself, they've done some few things right, especially player welfare. They've gotten it right.
So we'll watch this space and see what happens moving forward. Thank you always for your time this morning, Idah Peterside.